Poverty, still a major problem in many nations, including Malaysia. Some individuals still live in poverty in the nations despite economic growth and improvement throughout the years. In addition to economics, poverty has an impact on people's quality of life, access to healthcare and education, and general social well-being. In Malaysia, poverty is primarily found in rural regions. Nevertheless, rising living expenses are increasingly causing urban poverty to become an issue. The government has put in place a number of policy and initiatives aimed at reducing poverty, including providing financial assistance and enhancing infrastructure in less developed areas. But issues like inequality in wealth, unemployment, and low educational attainment keep bringing about the issue. Here are the pictures show that statistic of poverty status in 2023. According to the figures, 426,173 households in Malaysia live below the poverty line as of 15 October 2023. The extreme poor 106,213 families who earn less than 1,169 per month, and the general poor 319,960 households who earn less than 2,208 per month is to the main category into which these are split. In addition, the data show that the poverty rate is higher in rural areas 53% than in urban area 47%. The state of Sarawak, Kedah and Sabah have the highest number of poor households. Sabah with 73,067 households living in poverty, followed by Sarawak 84,526 households. Sarawak has the highest number and Kedah 34,147 households. This shows that there is a more serious poverty problem in certain areas, especially in East Malaysia. All things considered, fighting poverty requires focused assistance, especially for rural areas and states with higher poverty rates. The main problem associated with poverty in Malaysia will be examined in this paper, with an emphasis on the issue, implication and recommendations. We investigate government initiatives to combat poverty and assess their efficacy. By being aware of this problem, we can provide recommendations for ways to reduce poverty and enhance the quality of life for people who are impacted. That's all from me. Next, I pass to Danial to continue the presentations.
Hi, so I want to explain about 4 issues of poverty. For the first point is lack of basic needs. Okay, lack of basic needs like clean water, food, housing, healthcare and education remains a serious issue in Malaysia, especially for low income and rural and marginalized community. During the COVID-19 pandemic, many families face food insecurity, highlighted by the bendera putih or a white flag movement. Rising living costs, unaffordable housing in cities, and restricted access to resources in rural areas worsen poverty. Indigenous and rural communities struggle with poor sanitation, limited clean water, and inadequate healthcare, increasing disease risk. School closure widen education as low as gap incomes. A family lack access to online learning, deepening the digital divide. Targeted policies are needed to improve social protection infrastructure and access to basic needs. Second point is unemployment. Unemployment and underemployment are major issues in Malaysia, worsened by the COVID-19 pandemic. In 2020, unemployment peaked at 5.3%, hitting low-income workers, women and youth, the elders. Many work informal or part-time jobs due to a lack of formal jobs opportunities, especially in the rural area and East Malaysia, like Sabah and Sarawak, where poor infrastructures limit economic growth. Recent graduates face skill mismatch and low wages, like rural communities rely on unstable, low-paying jobs like subsistence farming. Government programs like the employment insurance system and Penjana Kerjaya aim to provide short-term support and reskill workers, but in a long-term solution require investment, education, infrastructure and job creation. So, for the third point, which is financial illiteracy. Financial illiteracy is a significant issue in Malaysia, especially for low-income groups, rural communities and young people. Many lack basic skills in budgeting, saving, and debt management, leaving them vulnerable to financial shocks. Only a small percentage have emergency savings, and the COVID-19 pandemic worsened the situation, increasing household debt as many rely on loans and credit cards to survive. Young Malaysians face added struggle with student loans, credit, and high interest payment plans, leading to financial instability. Rural areas also lag behind due to limited access to financial education and digital resources. Programs like the Financial Education Network aim to improve financial literacy, but long-term efforts are needed to integrate financial education into schools and community programs. For the last point, which is income inequality. Income inequality remains a significant issue in Malaysia because of with high income earnings enjoying better access to education, jobs, and wealth, while low-income groups struggle to meet basic needs. Urban areas like Kuala Lumpur benefit from more opportunities, while rural areas like Sabah and Sarawak lack of resources, infrastructure, and well-paying jobs. The COVID-19 pandemic worsened these gaps, hitting lower-income households hardest. Limited access to quality education and social services in rural areas further deepens income inequality. Government programs like Bantuan Prihatin Rakyat and the Shared Prosperity Vision 2030 aim to reduce the wealth gap, but lasting solution requires investment in education, infrastructures, and job creation in undeserved areas. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum to Dr. Azira. My name is Mulkan Hilmi bermakna Sapuan. My matric number is 2023634938. So, today I am going to talk about the implication of poverty in Malaysia. So, implication of poverty in Malaysia, particularly focusing on education, healthcare, social equality, and housing. This factor impact both rural and urban population, although in different ways. So, firstly, let's talk about education. Education is often the pathway out of poverty, yet many challenges exist. In rural area, schools are under resources, lacking basic teaching materials and modern digital tools. Infrastructure issues such as poor transportation make it hard for children to attend school, and especially during COVID-19 pandemic, reports show that 37% of rural students couldn't access online learning compared to only 11% of urban students. This digital divide hampers rural children future opportunities. In urban area, the challenges are more about affordability. Even though facilities are better, many low-income families can't afford tuition fees, learning tools or extracurricular activity. A report by ISIS Malaysia found that limited access to digital device during the pandemic widened the gap, keeping urban poor children from educational opportunities and social mobility. Next is I'm going to talk about healthcare. Healthcare disparities are stuck between rural and urban area. In rural area, facilities are scarce and people often travel long distance to reach understaffed clinic. A Core Malaysia study found that over 50% of rural households face delay in accessing healthcare, and this lead to worsening health condition and costly treatment. In urban area, healthcare facilities are more accessible, but affordability is the issue. Public hospitals are overcrowded and private healthcare is expensive. The Department of Statistics Malaysia reported that 19% of urban poor households delay treatment due to financial constraint, leading to untreated illness and poorer healthcare outcome. So next is let's look to social inequality. Rural poverty stems from development disparities, and many rural areas lacks of essential service like clean water, electricity, and internet connectivity. UNICEF Malaysia found that 12% of the rural population live in poverty compared to 3% in urban area. This trap rural communities, especially those in agriculture, in a cycle of poverty. In urban area, poverty contributes to social stratification and crime. Low-income families often live in informal settlement with poor infrastructure and safety. ISIS Malaysia reported that urban poverty is linked to increased crime rate, particularly property crimes and domestic violence. This cycle of deprivation is difficult to break and limits upward mobility. And finally, housing issue. Housing is really a major issue. In rural area, many families live in poorly constructed homes without basic amenities, and the World Bank reported that 40% of the rural household lacks access to clean water, sanitation, and electricity. This limit economic growth and quality of life. While in urban area, housing affordability is the crisis. Many low-income families live in overcrowded flats and informal settlement. The Department of Statistics Malaysia noted that 30% of urban poor households live in substandard condition with rising rent prices, limited affordable housing. Many families are forced into unsafe and unstable living situation. So, in conclusion, poverty in Malaysia deeply impact the education, healthcare, social inequality, and housing, with different challenges in rural and urban area. Addressing this disparity is crucial for improving the well-being and opportunities for all Malaysians. And that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum and hi. So for this part, I will talk a little bit about the overview of Malaysia's current situation regarding poverty. Malaysia has made some progress in reducing poverty with improvements in living standards and targeted programs. However, poverty remains a challenge, especially in rural areas and regions like Sabah and Sarawak, where the rates are higher than the national average. The COVID-19 pandemic worsened the situation, highlighting the gaps in support for undeserved areas. Relative poverty, where households earn less than half the national median income, also shows the socio-economic inequalities between urban and rural areas. While urban centres on the west coast face lower poverty rates, the east coast and central regions struggle more. To tackle these challenges, the government is focusing on poverty alleviation programs and economic reforms to reduce disparities and provide more opportunities for all Malaysians.
Now, the Madani government continues to work to eradicate extreme poverty throughout the country, including through discussions and full cooperation between the federal and state governments. Among them, there are more than 1,600 hardcore poor in the state of Terengganu that are targeted to be lifted out of poverty within 2 months.
Speaking at the Terengganu level Madani 2024 Idul Fitri celebration at the Gong Badak Sports Complex on Thursday, Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim said several states such as Kuala Lumpur, Negeri Sembilan and Melaka expect to see poverty eradicated by the end of this month.
Saya di Kedah baru-baru ini.
And for this part, I'm going to talk a little bit about the combating poverty with the Madani framework. So Malaysia is taking strong steps to reduce poverty through the Madani framework. This plan focuses on two main strategies: raising incomes and improving living conditions. It aims to help people in both cities and rural areas, especially the most vulnerable groups. Here's how it works. Firstly, raising income. The government is working to create jobs in growing industries like technology and renewable energy. Training programs help people gain the skills needed for these jobs, especially youth and women from poorer areas. They also encourage starting small businesses by offering loans and support. These steps help people earn more and reduce income gaps. Besides that, improving living standards. The government is improving access to healthcare, education, and affordable housing. They are building more clinics, schools, and low-cost incomes, especially in rural areas. This ensures everyone has what they need for a better quality life. Moreover, closing urban-rural gaps. Rural areas often lack basic infrastructure. The government is improving roads, internet access, and utilities like clean water and electricity. These changes help rural communities connect with cities and grow economically. To conclude the Madani framework, it combines income support with better services to tackle poverty in a sustainable way. It not only helps families, but also builds a stronger future for Malaysia. Moving on, I'll be talking about an important initiative aimed at reducing poverty in Malaysia, particularly for the B40 group, which includes the bottom 40% of income earners. One of the most impactful approaches is empowering youth through targeted skill development programs. So let's explore how these programs are changing life and fostering long-term financial stability. So empowering youth through skills. Youth skill development programs focus on equipping young people with practical, job-ready skills to improve their employability or even start their own businesses. For example, courses in computer literacy, electrical work, and wiring provide hands-on training in high-demand fields. These programs are tailored to meet the needs of the job market, giving participants a real chance to secure meaningful employment. Plus, making training accessible. What makes these programs stand out is their accessibility. They are designed for vulnerable communities, especially in rural and undeserved areas, helping young people build confidence and independence. This ensures that even in a disadvantaged areas have access to opportunities for a better future. In addition to vocational skills, this initiative also emphasizes entrepreneurship. Participants are taught how to start and manage small businesses, combining technical skills with business knowledge. This not only helps them become self-reliant but also contributes to local economic growth. Overall, youth skill development programs are transformative. They address immediate financial challenges while fostering long-term sustainability, helping individuals and communities break free from poverty. As Malaysia continues its journey toward inclusive development, such initiatives remain important for ensuring that everyone has the tools they need to succeed.
Birth control among groups below the poverty line. A key recommendation for addressing poverty in Malaysia is implementing effective family planning and birth control initiative. Rapid population growth, especially in low-income communities, strain resources like food, healthcare, and education, perpetuating cycle of poverty. Larger families often struggle to meet basic needs, which can hinder opportunities for upward mobility. Providing access to affordable family planning services and reproductive health education can alleviate these challenges, improving living standards and future prospects. Government and NGOs should work together to increase awareness of contraceptive methods, address cultural stigmas, and make family planning accessible to underprivileged communities. Programs like Program Perancangan Keluarga and partnership with organisations such as Federation of Reproductive Health Association Malaysia can ensure these efforts reach those in need. Furthermore, smaller families lead to better resources allocations, improve education outcome, and reduce financial strain, fostering social and economic stability. National policy is supporting subsidized contraceptions and awareness campaign aligned with Malaysia's goal of equality and sustainable growth, empowering individuals to make informed family plan decisions, help break poverty cycle, contributing to a more resilient and equitable society while supporting Malaysia's Vision 2030 for inclusivity and prosperity. The next recommendation is reducing unemployment and increasing job opportunities. To address unemployment and create more job opportunities in Malaysia, especially among youth and marginalized communities, it is crucial to focus on smart investment and targeted initiative. High unemployment, particularly among young graduates and those in economically disadvantaged area, limit access to essentials like housing, education, and healthcare, perpetuating poverty. To combat this, the government and private sector should collaborate to create a job across sectors such as manufacturing, services, tourism, and agriculture. Initiatives like automation in agriculture, ecotourism, and digital service can generate employment and support inclusive growth. Comprehensive programs including internship, apprenticeship, and vocational training are necessary to align training with the labour market needs and enhancing employability for recent graduates. Additionally, efforts should target underserved population in rural and economically disadvantaged areas, providing incentives like tax rebates, subsidized utilities, and infrastructural supports to attract businesses and reduce migration to urban centers. Supporting entrepreneurship through microfinance trainings and market access can empower marginalized populations, especially women in rural areas, to achieve economic independence. Innovations and technology such as Malaysia's My Digital Plan can also create a job by equipping the workforce with digital skills. Addressing unemployment through a comprehensive strategy focused on skill building, targeted investments, and public-private partnerships will foster more inclusive and dynamic labour market, reduce poverty, promote economic growth, and ensure social stability. And last recommendation is education accessibility. To enhance accessibility to education in Malaysia and break the cycle of poverty, it is essential to address financial barriers and disparities in educational equality. The link between poverty and educational achievement in Malaysia highlight the need for targeted interventions. Financial constraints such as costs for uniform, school supplies, and transportations limit access, especially for underprivileged families. Programs like uniform subsidies, free transportation, and distribution of school supplies can alleviate this burden and improve school enrollment and retentions. Investing in infrastructure such as state-of-the-art schools, access to clean water and digital tools like internet connectivity is crucial for improving facilities in underprivileged areas. Incentives like training opportunities, competitive pay and rural allowance help attract and retain qualified teachers, enhancing student outcome. Also, targeted assistance program including financial aid and scholarship encourage students from low-income background to pursue higher educations. Furthermore, partnership with local leaders, businesses and NGOs strengthen this initiative by providing resources like computers, literatures and school supplies. Additionally, community involvement through volunteer tutoring program and resources sharing initiative empowers local communities to support educational efforts, ensuring inclusive and equitable access to quality education. By enhancing educational accessibility, Malaysia can significantly impact its socio-economic landscape, fostering economic independence and driving national economic growth through a critical thinking, creativity and productivity. This aligns with Malaysia's shared prosperity visions 2030, which aim to create a more inclusive, sustainable societies. Prioritizing educational accessibility ensure that upward mobility is achievable for individuals and families, unlocking the potential of Malaysian human capital and setting the country on the path to long-term sustainable development.
In conclusion, poverty is a complicated problem that impacts both rural and urban community in Malaysia. Despite the fact that the nation has made significant progress towards ending poverty, issues like wealth inequality, unemployment and limited access to education continue to be a major contributor to the issue. To aid in the reduction of poverty, the Malaysian government has implemented a number of initiatives including development projects and financial assistance. To address the root cause, additional work must be done in areas like school reform, employment creation and equitability. Social development should be a priority in addition to economic progress in the fight against poverty. Better access to affordable housing, high quality education and healthcare are all part of this. By addressing this problem, Malaysia can keep up its progress in lowering poverty and raising the standard of living for all of its people. Collaboration between the government and society is essential to achieving this. Sustained effort and strong regulation are crucial in reducing the gap between the rich and poor people while guaranteeing that nobody is excluded from the national advancement. That's all from me. Thank you.